Nobody tells you how expensive this gets. Not at the beginning, not when your kid first walks into a gym holding a borrowed ball, not when a coach smiles and says she has potential. At the beginning, it feels harmless. A small fee, a short season, a couple weekends. It feels like something you can try. And that's the part that matters. Because if someone told you the full cost on day one, most people would walk away. But nobody does that. They talk about development. They talk about opportunity. They talk about exposure. They don't talk about the years. They don't talk about how this slowly becomes the framework your calendar revolves around, how your weekends disappear, how your savings account starts to feel lighter even when you're being careful. And by the time you finally understand the scope of it, you're already committed. Quitting doesn't feel like an option anymore. Not because anyone forces you, but because your kid is invested. And once your kid is invested, the equation changes. This is not a complaint. This is not a warning. This is clarity. This is Volleyball Dad Diaries. And this is why club volleyball is so expensive. Most volleyball journeys don't start with a master plan. They start with a moment. A rec league flyer taped to a school door. A middle school tryout after class. A coach pulling you aside and saying, "She's got something." At that stage, the costs feel reasonable. A registration fee, a uniform, maybe a weekend tournament within driving distance. You tell yourself it's just a phase. You tell yourself you'll see how it goes. And honestly, that part is true. In the early days, it is manageable. But what nobody explains is that club volleyball isn't structured like a normal youth sport. It isn't a season. It's a pipeline. Once you step into it, every year builds on the one before, and every year costs more than the last. Not because anyone is trying to trick you, but because the system itself is layered. The first real moment of clarity usually comes with the club fee. That number varies depending on where you live and how competitive the club is, but it's never small. $2,000, $3,000, sometimes more. And that's before a single whistle blows, before your kid touches the floor, before a tournament weekend, before a single hotel night. That fee covers gym time, coaching salaries, administrative staff, tournament registrations, insurance, facility overhead. All of it makes sense when you look at it individually. But when it hits your bank account all at once, it changes how you think. Because once you write that check, you've crossed a line. This isn't recreational anymore. This is organized, structured, professionalized. And the thing about professionalized systems is that they don't run cheaply. But here's the part most dads don't expect. The club fee is not what breaks families. Travel is. Because travel doesn't come as one clean number. It comes in fragments. Gas, flights, hotels, rental cars, parking, food that costs more because you're always eating out. And it doesn't happen once. It happens again and again. Every few weeks, sometimes back to back, sometimes with only a short break in between. You're not traveling to tourist destinations. You're traveling to convention centers in industrial parts of cities. Suburbs where every hotel within 20 miles knows there's a tournament in town. And prices reflect that. A hotel that costs $120 on a normal weekend suddenly costs $240, and you still book it because everyone else already has. Because if you don't, you're staying 40 minutes away and waking up at 5 in the morning. so you pay. Over time, these weekends start to blur together. The same early mornings, the same coffee lines, the same quiet hotel hallways. If you've lived this long enough, you know the lobby. Early morning, parents sitting quietly, some scrolling phones, some staring into space. Nobody's loud, nobody's energized. Everyone is tired. But what they're really doing is calculating. Not just money, time. How many weekends this season has taken? How many are left? How many are already penciled in for next year? Because once you're in this world, you don't plan your life first and volleyball second. You plan volleyball first, and everything else fits around it. That's when the cost becomes more than financial. Because money is measurable. Time isn't. There's a category that never shows up on any budget spreadsheet. Opportunity cost. The shifts you didn't take. The trips you postponed. The weekends you didn't rest. The birthday parties you left early. The family events you missed entirely. Club volleyball doesn't just cost money. It redirects your life. And once your life is redirected, it doesn't snap back easily. So why do people keep paying? Why don't more families walk away? The honest answer is simple. Because their kid cares. And once your kid cares, logic changes. Now it's not just about dollars. It's about belief. Belief in effort. Belief in growth. Belief in what showing up consistently might teach. You start telling yourself you're investing, not in outcomes, but in habits, discipline, resilience, learning how to compete, learning how to lose. Those things matter, and because they matter, you keep going. At first, one tournament doesn't seem like much, but then it becomes 10, then 15, and every tournament is a machine, facilities that have to be rented, officials who need to be paid, staff, security, insurance, logistics. Multiply that by hundreds of teams. That cost doesn't disappear. It gets passed down directly to you. Then comes the conversation that changes everything. Private training. It usually starts casually, just to clean a few things up, just to get more reps, just to stay sharp. One session turns into weekly sessions. Weekly turns into year-round. Now you're paying for access and development, and you don't want to fall behind, because once you've seen the level, you can't unsee it. Then recruiting enters the picture, and that's when the entire ecosystem accelerates. Showcases, camps, combines. Each one promises exposure. Each one costs money. None of them guarantee anything. You're paying for possibility. That's the part nobody prepares you for. Eventually, every dad asks the same question. Is this worth it? And the honest answer is uncomfortable. It depends on what you think worth it means. If you think this guarantees scholarships, it doesn't. If you think it guarantees playing time, it doesn't. If you think it guarantees happiness, it doesn't. But if you think it teaches commitment, pressure management, and responsibility, it might. People don't warn you up front because they're already inside the system too. And because once you're in it, you understand something that's hard to admit. If someone had told you everything at the beginning, you might not have started. And yet, here you are, watching your kid walk into a gym with confidence, watching them take feedback, watching them lose and come back. That matters. This isn't about telling anyone to quit. It's about understanding the reality you're participating in. Club volleyball is expensive because it's not just a sport. It's a system built on scale, on travel, on exposure, on belief. And once you understand that, you stop being shocked. You start being intentional. This is Volleyball Dad Diaries, and we're just getting started.
It's the rapper, baby!